Hey everyone, this is Justin with daytradethemarkets.com on Thursday the 3rd of May 2012. Wanted to take a quick look at the ES from today and talk about how there were basically two major structures in the way that we look at the market that really gave us some huge clues as to what was going on today. If you're not familiar with what we do, there's a lot of videos under this video that you can watch certainly, or links to videos. But what we're looking at is our software is giving us various pieces of evidence in real time and also prior to the market. And what we want to do is we want to look at those each of these pieces of evidence is great information on its own, but the true power comes when several of these pieces of evidence line up at the same time. So when you have one or two or three or four pieces of evidence, I should say 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of evidence that kind of line up together in the same direction, gives you a better edge. It leads to higher probability. I didn't say perfect or home run or always wins. That's not what I'm saying, but a higher edge. And really, as a trader, that's at least the way we look at it, you're just looking for some way to make a better decision to increase your edge. And if you can just make one better decision per day, obviously you're way ahead of the game. Looking at that, one of the things we look at is the first of all our bigger picture analysis. And I wasn't able to do a video. I ran out of time last night. I didn't do a video Wednesday night, but if you watch the video from Tuesday night, what I talked about on that video was that off of the high on Tuesday, we had some clues that some selling was coming into the market, and so we were a little bit suspect of the market continuing higher. But what we wanted to watch was basically the area between this 89.50 here, this level here, and around 1399.50 or 1400. And if you look back at a chart from Wednesday, you'll see that basically the market traded in that exact range. So we didn't get any great information on that. The up auction was still in place weekly, but our line in the sand that we wanted to watch on both ends was this 1399.50 and 1389.50. And you can see that for the majority of the day today, or I should say the first 2/3 of the day today, the market traded within that. But there were a couple. I just want to point out two key structures that we look at that I want to show. And actually, let me pause this and then zoom in, and I'll be right back. But what I want to do is, before I do that, I'm going to show you this major structure that we had right here, and then this major structure right here when we broke out below 89.50, and how both of those gave us really good clues that the sellers were basically in control today. So let me pause this real quick. Okay, so I've zoomed in on the first half of the day basically, and you know what? Let me make this a little bit bigger. Zoomed in on the first half of the day here, and you can see here we have what we'll call a high velocity move, which is this little blue box, and also this dark purple bar, which is a little bit hard to see on this chart, but that's what we call a level 3 or extreme selling aggression bar. And what that's telling us is that aggression is what moves the market, and that's telling us that some extreme selling aggression came into the market. And our expectations on these or what we like to see is, if we have a level 3 selling aggression bar like that, our first expectation is that the high of that bar is going to act as resistance. Okay, now if we get immediate acceptance below, which we did, we also think that the low could act as some resistance, and you can see it bounced a bit from here. But the big deal is that as long as this high holds, it tells us that sellers are still in great control. And you can see that high held nicely. We sold off, and then the high held basically to the tick. And it also happened to correspond with this red intraday resistance zone, which formed right here. So that's showing us this is a really good entry spot for potentially getting short if you're comfortable doing that. Then when the market sold off from here, you can also see we had an attempt by some extreme buying there, and we didn't really get any follow through above that bar. We got like one full bar above. But it ran right into this resistance zone and sold off, and then you can see the low of this bar was taken out. So and then it actually decelled right at the high of that as well. But that's telling us at this point, okay, sellers are firmly in control. The thing that I found even more interesting than if we scroll forward was, remember that we're talking about this 89.50 level as kind of our line in the sand, and what you can see that happened here as well is that when we broke out below that 89.50 after we tested it a couple times early in the day, we broke out on another level 3 selling aggression bar. So again, it's telling us that it's meeting expectation. The extreme selling aggression came into the market on the low of the day. Again, the expectation is that high should hold, which it did basically to the tick. Also corresponded with this red intraday resistance zone, corresponded with this 89.50 bigger picture resistance zone at that point. So a good spot. So those were our two key structures, and that's what we talk about in our material, and when we do sessions and things like that, is we want to see when these major structures occur, it's giving us a clue as to who's in control of the market. And if those meet our expectations, that gives us information. And if the expectation's not held, it also gives us expectation. And in today's session, obviously the expectation was met nicely on both ends, with the first one in here and the second one in there. So two pretty good clues. Now we also had what we call some level 2 bars here, where the same expectation kind of holds. But the main things we look at are those level 3 bars and the high velocity moves as kind of what we call our roadmap to what's going on. And today, early in the day, we had a pretty good clue that sellers were trying to come in, and then when we broke down beneath our key level, the same thing occurred. So giving us pretty good information in that sense. As far as going forward, we're leaning toward the downside. It's still not a full-on down auction in our opinion until we take out the 71 quarter level. So, but as far as the next target down, we're looking around the 80 quarter level, then the 71 quarter level. Beyond that, if we get below 71 quarter, look out below. In terms of for the buyers to be back in control, in our opinion, we'd have to get above the 1399.50 or 1400 level for that to be the case. But be interesting to see what happens overnight. Can this 89.50 area hold overnight, and can we open below it? That sort of thing. That's kind of going to be the key level that we'll be watching this evening and early tomorrow to try to keep you on the right side of the market there. So let us know if you have any questions. But just wanted to show those key structures as we were that was showing that sellers were in control pretty well today. So let us know any questions, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.